Alright, so and that's done. We can go live here. Alright, let me hit everybody up. Live now. Yeah, I might be busy. I need to hit up. Just chatting. Send her a link because she might not have it. Open this up real quick. Go to channel. Boom. Copy URL. Close this out. Boom. Okay. Anybody else I need to send this to? Probably not. What up, Janae? What up, Janae? Hey, let me know if you can hear me, though. I think you can, though. I'm sure you can, though. I got the mic up. I ain't gonna lie. This is the nastiest shit I ever tasted. All right, cool. Let me see who all tuned in. 4 people. All right, so I'm not really sure who I have in the chat. So I'm only gonna stream for about 45 minutes to an hour, because all right, so I still have to do the 1 out of 4 days where I stream for an hour, and I have to have a minimum of 3 or more viewers, and so I gotta kind of lock in those viewers, because if you're at home right now, whatever the case is, and I always say this, right? So you don't have to tune in for more than 5 minutes. You don't have to tune in for 20 to 30 minutes. But if you're at home, this is what's easy. You can tune into the stream, and then you can minimize and mute the actual live, and it'll count. Because many people may have stuff they're doing already. Like, y'all might be, I don't know, you might be busy, you might be working on some shit. Doesn't matter what the case is, but you can still minimize it. It can still help the channel, and you can go about doing your own thing. And it may be a little harder for you guys to like just stick around if you're already doing something, if you're on a mobile device, right? So today's discussion, and you guys should be able to see it. We were going to be so I have Bellaire, Downtown Heights, and I have Westheimer, Houston, and I forgot to add the Rhine home, which is in California, that we're going to be talking about. We do still need to discuss it. Welcome to Derry. So who's all finished Welcome to Derry? Can someone let me know in the chat who's all finished? Because if we get into this conversation, I don't want to spoil anything. So let me know. Who's all finished Welcome to Derry? Roderick, I know you finished it. Marcus, I don't even know if you're watching it. Dennis, my nigga Dennis been busy, so I don't even know if he's tuned in lately. Janae, you're too afraid of clowns, whatever the case is. You got the term for it isn't clown phobia, it's called something else, but I don't think you watched Welcome to Derry. You need to watch that. Because I kinda wanna get into the discussion about Welcome to Derry. I do want to discuss it. So before I discuss it, I need to know who's all finished it so I don't spoil anything. I mean, if I get more than 2 people in here who say they've actually finished it, then I'm going to talk about it. Other than that, we're going to be visiting some places here on Maps. Let me go ahead and full screen this. But nobody's saying anything in the chat. Let's see. Janae, have you watched Welcome to Derry? Holy shit, y'all can't see anything. Hold on. My bad. There we go. She says no, she has not watched Welcome to Derry. So right now, if you don't know where you're at, right? You're looking at Google Maps with me right now. We're in Bellaire, right? So this is a town in Houston, right? This neighborhood. I think the average income, the annual income is about 200,000, 300,000. So people who live in this area, they make around that much. Now, if we go further, right here is the library. This is one of the libraries I attend. This is also one of the libraries I've done some community work for, some voluntary work. I wonder who's all in the chat. Where did everybody go? They probably just tuned in and then they left. Right, so this is the Bellaire Library, right? This is the Bellaire Public Library, or Bellaire City Library. So this is one of the libraries that I attend, that I go to pretty often. I commonly go here, whatever the case is, to look into books. I bring my own books, of course, and I read and do some research. Libraries are the best place to go. And there's a house here, right? And so let me minimize this. Let me go down here. Let me bring up photos. Right? So I thought this is why I told. We'll just type in Bellaire, right? And I should have a photo of the house. Well, this is me inside of the library, right? So this was taken last year, February 23rd. So look, it's all timestamped, right? Let me go ahead and full screen that. So here, I'm in Bellaire, February 23rd, the year 2024, right? So as you can see, how do I go over? I'm trying to find this freaking house. That's weird because it was actually on here a minute ago. Bellaire. It's supposed to be here, but I don't know why it's not showing up. There's supposed to be a photo of a house here, but again, my phone is just being absolutely weird. It's not showing it. I mean, not my phone, but my Mac. Anyways. All right, but this house that I was talking about in particular, I had an aunt ask me because, I was just Ubering through here one day, and we stopped like right here for a second. I don't know. I think we had a car or something like that. I was trying to turn into this little parking lot here, and there's this really cool house right here, right? So again, the average income in this city, this little town called Bellaire, right? The average income is about 200,000, 300,000. It's about two to 300,000, whatever the case is, right? And if you live in the Houston area, or if you grew up here, whatever the case is, then you know that Bellaire is just one of those. It's one of those, It's one of those upper class type neighborhoods, where the case is. I don't know. I just wanted to look at that house for a second. I don't know. I was gonna just zoom through here. I thought it'd be cool. So I never seen this part of the house. I don't know how, but I mean, I pass it up all the time. But I never seen this part of the house though. But like, ain't that kind of live though? I'm not really a fan of this front yard though. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not really too much of a fan of this. It just seems it doesn't like it seems like you don't have any. And I get it. Most front yards don't have any privacy, but it doesn't feel like a front yard. Like, could you imagine coming out here and like, damn, like you got straight street. It looks busy, like it's crowded. I'm pretty sure throughout the weekends, there's plenty of like baseball tournaments and shit going on over here. It's just too much going on though. But y'all, look at that. They got the Range Rover in the front. I don't know what that could be, but it's giving sports car. Whatever that is, that's sporty, right? That's a sports car, man. But I never. This is on 5th Street, right? So I never seen this part of the house though. But I'm not. Again, I'm not a fan of this front yard. I'm not a fan of this front yard though. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Does this feel weird? Like damn, like imagine the house facing the street, but you don't have no driveway. Like your driveway on the side. I mean, I guess that makes up for it though. But that's weird though. I don't know. I feel like it's weird. Let's come back over here. Like this looks like the main entrance, right? But it's low key not though. The main entrance is on the other side. Still a pretty cool, neat house, huh? I'm not really a fan of this front yard though. I like driving through neighborhoods like this. I mean, maybe it's just me. Like this will actually be pretty cool for a little date. You know what I'm saying? Grab you something like I don't know, maybe like some finger food, maybe like a sub sandwich or something, and like just pull up. Yo, this house kind of looks the same as the house we were just looking at. I don't know, man. It's just like if I have a house with the kids, I gotta have more yard though. I ain't gonna lie. I like the fact they got the trees. Let's see if we can zoom in just a bit. They got the trees or whatnot. That's pretty neat. Let me zoom out. They got the trees. I mean, it's giving nature vibes a little bit though. I don't know. This shit it's too close for comfort for me though. But a house I really want to check out. We actually gonna jump around here. We're gonna go visit the Ryan house, right? If the homies are here in the chat, y'all have to talk. You have to say something. Let me know you here. What do y'all want to talk about? Because we were gonna discuss Welcome to Dairy Work. I was gonna discuss Stranger Things, but I'm not gonna do it just yet. So, who's all here? Let me know you here, because it helps the channel out. Niggas be acting shy. I don't know why y'all act like that. Ryan house. Where is this Ryan house? It's a house in California, actually. So, look, check this out. So, what I want to know is the Ryan house in California, and here it is here. Is the Ryan house in California, is it inhabited or is it haunted? Oh, I can't look at it from here? Fuck me. Yo, y'all don't understand. Like, look, maybe there's photos of this house, right? This is a really cool house. Okay, here we go. Bingo. Yo, check this fucking house out. This is a Victorian style house. Look at this fucking house. Let me scoot this over. We gotta get all this. Okay, so I'm glad I'm able to kind of view it. Let me see. Let's try to get in, right? This is as good as it's gonna get. Like, I think I might be able to go up the street here, but it's gonna take me up the road. We're not gonna be able to see everything we were trying to get a look at. But there's photos though, right? So we're gonna look at this from Google Maps. But look at this house though. Discuss Twilight. Janae, you always want me to discuss Twilight. I guarantee you, if I discuss Twilight, these niggas are gonna leave the chat. I mean, so part of today's discussion, we're going to be discussing this house in particular, which to me is a very attractive, gorgeous, beautiful house. We're going to look a little bit at the history. I did do a little research on it, and I found out there was a guy named Frederick, or whatever the case is, who owned it. And apparently, this top area up here, I forget what it's considered. It's not considered the basement, because the basement is always considered below, right? But the what's that area in the house where the attic, right? But I don't think that's an attic. It looks like a room to me. But apparently, this house where the case is, a particular space, certain area in this house is considered haunted. But we're going to be discussing whether it's haunted or inhabited, because a lot of people, when they think of the word haunted, they she said, "Oh, never mind." Yeah, Janae, whenever I discuss Stranger Things, whenever I decide to discuss Twilight, it will be because I rewatched the movie. Like, I have to go revisit the movie, watch it, and then we'll have a discussion about that. But Twilight to me is so boring, and I'm pretty sure if I go back and watch now, it's so much of a corny. It's a chick flick. I mean, it has action in it, but I mean, during the time I went to go see Twilight, I was dating a girl named Bianca who was into that because she liked, what was the dude's name that was a wolf? I shouldn't even be able to forget his name. You know his name. What's that nigga name? Right? So look, check this out. Because why did it send me all the way back here? Let me let's go back really quick, right? So let's look at some photos really quick. I don't need this open. Let's see if we can find some photos, right? So look, bang. Look at this crib. Like, look at it. Like, look at this, and like, you gotta really take this in. You gotta really appreciate it. Now, before I get into the lore, Team Jacob, Marcus, you can cuss in the chat. Why are you blurting? I mean, why are you censoring your curse words, or is my chat doing that? Y'all can curse in the chat. I don't think I have any censoring up. Marcus, I don't know. That's a 5-letter. That's 5 stars. Marcus calling me a bitch in the chat, or are you calling me a nigga? He might be. I'm gonna say he calling me a nigga. Marcus ain't gonna just call me, female dog like that. Not my dog, man. But nah, what up, Brody? What up, Brody? Thanks for tuning in. Tonight's stream may be a little short, maybe 45 minutes, because that's all I gotta do to lock in these views. So right now we going strong. I got 5 viewers right now. Shout out to y'all. It still helps the chat if you are tuning in to just say something in the chat, even if it's what up, because that lets me know who you are so I can address you properly though. It's dope though. So if anything right now, since I see that I got another viewer, we were going to be basically just using maps, right? So we're going to be just jumping all over, using maps, just checking out some areas. Right now we're in California. We're visiting a place called the Rhine Home, right? And we were asking the question whether or not this house is inhabited or is it haunted. Now, based on my research, there was a guy named Frederick, which I believe is the original owner, who might have passed away, right? He died. He made the transition in this house. However, he never truly left the house, if you get what I'm saying, if you get where I'm going. So I want you to know, based on my own studies where the case is, or you guys have heard about hauntings, a lot of times people get attached to certain things or certain places, and in rare cases they get attached to people. Now, whenever they make this transition, or whenever they pass away, whatever the case is, they have such a strong bond and connection to something, someone, or some place, that when they do pass over, they never truly make the transition. You've seen this in movies, in particular, or more specific, like Poltergeist. Or maybe you saw this in The Conjuring, or you saw this in, I don't want to say Annabelle, I don't want to get into the Warrens just yet, but you know how they're like a paranormal team or paranormal investigators come in, or they bring in a priest or something like that, and maybe there is a quote-unquote ghost, and then they end up exorcising it, or they basically help it cross over because it might be haunting a house. Well, today I didn't really care to go too much into it, but since we're going to be visiting this particular house, and let's see if we can find another photo of this home or whatever the case is. Okay, here's another one. Bingo. Yo. Google Maps doesn't do it justice. I mean, this is someone took this photo. And by the way, I want to say this too. This house, when it was originally built, it took $38,000 to build this. No kidding. Because I think this house was built in the 1930s, right? We'll look into the history in just a second. And you might be asking myself, now, what's so fascinating about this? Well, I like houses built like this. It kind of gives me castle vibes. It's a Victorian style house. I mean, the little brick, square, shapy shit is cool, but I like things like this. I mean, look at it. Look at the attraction. Look at the people that it's drawn in, right? Look at another view of that, man. You can't tell me that you wouldn't live in something like this. You can't tell me, looking at a house like this, if you could buy it right now, if it was on the market right now for $40,000, right? But that's too cheap. You ain't finna find it, right? And if it is cheap like that, it's some shit going on with it. You seen those movies or those documentaries where a new couple or new family was moving into a home, and one of the houses that caught their eye, it might have been attractive, right? But at the same time, the price is something that surprised them. Like compared to the other houses in the area on the market, this house in particular, as good and attractive as it looked, is listed for less value or cheaper than any of the surrounding houses. Only to find out later there's some shit going on with it. Well, I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the other houses in the area and compared the prices. I don't even think if this house, whatever the case is, which we're gonna look into, if it's truly inhabited or haunted, I doubt that somehow affected the price, right? I don't even know if someone actually owns it. It could be a family, it could be a firm, it could be anyone who owns this house at the end of the day. But it's nice to look at. I like all the greenery and the nature they got going on. Like I wouldn't change any of this. And look at this shit. A whole chessboard or whole chess piece outside. Come on, man. You can't tell me this is not a house you wouldn't want to live in. I mean, if I got to get a house built, if I'm up 500,000 right now, right? That's not even. It may not even be enough to build this type of house though. But I literally want it built like this. But I ain't gonna lie, I want it even bigger than this. But this is fine though. We'll look more into like how many bedrooms it is. Here's another photo, whatever the case is. I ain't gonna lie, this is a gorgeous house. When I think of house, this is the type of shit I think about. Now I'll answer this question because I'm gonna ask myself this: would I move into this house, given the fact that I know some of its history about it being inhabited, right? Meaning there's a spirit or what the case is living there. Would I move into the fucking house? Absolutely. I would still move into the house, and I understand what it would take to basically exercise it and get the spirit that's probably in hand. I want to say the spirit is probably in inhabiting this part up here though. It could be this area, but what I read, and we're gonna get into that in just a moment, right? It said it was inhabiting this spot right up here at the top, right? Again, you gotta look at that. Look at the people that it attracts though. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if a firm or I don't know if a family owns it, or maybe Frederick had children or whatever the case is, and he whenever he died, whatever the case is, the will and everything they pretty much inherited this, right? But I know for a fact, I can see why he was so attached to this house that he, even when he passed on, he decided not to fully cross over and to leave this behind. All right. So you might be saying, well, how in the hell can a ghost still live in the house? Well, you've seen the movies, but I'll explain the science. So when you pass away or whatever the case is, you go to a dimension or you go to this alternate universe, right? Which is parallel, right? It just means it exists. They exist or whatever the case is along the same lines, but you can't see them with the same eye or whatever the case is. They exist, but they don't physically touch or whatever the case is. When you pass away, whatever the case is, you become this thing called the spirit, right? You separate from this physical body, and now you live on Earth. You live on this material realm, this Earth realm. Everything that you see here, minus the physical body. So you can still, everything that you see here, it has all the accessories minus the physical body. You can still walk. You can still, you still see everything. You still experience everything that we do here in the physical. We just don't have a physical body anymore. That's the science behind that. But I could see why he wouldn't want to leave a place like this. You would think while he was still alive, this man Frederick was still obsessed with this house. I mean, come on. If you bought this in the 1930s with $38,000, this is a fucking true dream home. I haven't seen a home more beautiful than this. I gotta be fucking honest with you. And then look at this. It gets even better. And then look at the, bro, I didn't even see that. Look at the water fountain though. Can we zoom in on that? Look at the water fountain. Let's hold on, my bad. Look at the water fountain. Oh shit, I didn't know it can get it. Okay, we got an HD photo. So whoever took this with an iPhone, right? April 2025. All right, good. You know what I'm saying? Niggas be using Android and shit. I ain't got nothing against Android niggas. Technically, y'all do, cause y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know who y'all are. But let's take a quick guess though, right? So we can see this is more than likely the main entrance. Look at the staircase, man. How could you not like some shit like this, right? Look at the staircase. Which area, right? Because it's not anywhere on the first level of the house, right? It's the second house, which one of these areas is supposed to be the areas where the activity, the paranormal activity or the spirit activity is where it's supposed to be most active, right? And we're gonna look at the word inhabited versus the word haunted, because haunted is not what you think it is. It's not like the niggas out to get you. Plus, reports say that Frederick, as far as what they sense, the nature and the nature of the spirit isn't one like that's of anger, or this isn't like an angry spirit, right? They say it's actually pretty calm when you feel that presence. So it doesn't feel like someone that doesn't want you there, right? Because you'll know. But anyways, let's look at another photo. Again, I didn't even know I could really just zoom in like that on these photos. Let's go up. Just take this in and appreciate it once again. To me, it just, goddamn, it just doesn't get any better than this. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, I would definitely have to sit somewhere in the yard and have a sip of fucking wine. This is apparently in the inside of the house. To me, it's still not giving I live here, but I don't know. This could be somewhere where you could actually, this could be some type of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Whenever you pull up and you pay to actually visit a certain place, whatever the case is, what's that word I'm looking for? Like some type of site, some type of attraction or some shit. So here it is right here. So, okay, so it is for touring. So the Beringer house, right? It says stated in 1876. So I was wrong. This was actually built in 1876. So it's open for tourists. It doesn't really have a specific day of the week. It may be open 7 days a week. It opens from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So, you go there, whatever the case is. You go there for wine tasting. You can tour, and you can actually learn the history of the house itself. I'll fuck around and go, because I only learned about this house yesterday, right? One of my homegirls liked the video on Instagram, and there I was, right? You got the nice little chimney and things like that. The mirror, I never understood. Maybe it's just me sitting down, I don't know, but I just feel like if you're standing in front of this fireplace, you can't really fucking see this mirror. Like, the mirror, like, literally looks like it's probably from the nose up, though. I mean, I'm only 5'6", so I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's a short thing. I don't fucking know, but does the mirror to you look intentional? It just doesn't look like it should. It should have gone there. I'm fucking moving it if I lived there. It ain't going there though. I like this though, although it's kind of creepy though. It looks like it leads you somewhere you don't want to be. Okay, never mind. You can clearly see on the other side I don't know what the fuck is back there. Maybe there's a backyard or something like that, right? More yard space. I don't know why this pisses me off, but it does. I don't really like that too much. I hope this isn't the back of the house. If not, that's not something I wanted to look at. That's pretty ugly. However, there's another view of the house right there. And let's go back for just a second. We're gonna look into let me close X. Let me throw myself back to the house. Can I get around there? Can I get in here really quick? Eat. Okay, where is it? Where the fuck the house at? Okay, it has to be over here somewhere. Bingo, there it is right there. Again, Google Maps to me does justice. It does some type of justice. Can I get in here? I can't get in there, right? Maybe if I can get like a view from over here or something like that. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. This is definitely, let me see. I just don't like all this back there. I feel like whoever owned this house, maybe you could have bought some acres. I would have bought all this out. In fact, let's say I'm a billionaire, I'm up. Or I'm up at least 25, because 25 million is not enough to convince whoever lives over here to sell this shit. Looks like somebody's already on some farmers type shit back over here. But I'm definitely trying to buy the neighbors the fuck up out of here. I want more greenery. I need more trees. Yeah, that's going to cost you. 25 million is not enough to even get them to come through and just build you some trees. Maybe it is, though, right? Perhaps it is. I think my favorite day in a house like this is a rainy day, autumn, and during the winter. Because summer to me, I don't know what it is, but it's not doing it for me. Maybe there isn't enough trees. I'm not saying you need another tree. You do need you need another tree right here in this area, right? Back here, so I feel like you need this. You need this over here. You need this over here in this area. Somewhere right here, right? But I can't view back there. I can't go back there for some. Well, Google Maps not gonna let you get sexy like that. But absolutely dopest house I ever seen. Google Maps to me isn't doing justice because you're limited. You can only see so fucking much. However, thanks to the people who've taken some photos, we're able to look at some of it. So now let's look into the history of this house, right? Let's look into the history now. So we're gonna do the Rhine house. Oh, I should have typed in California, right? California. Let's just type in history. I typed that in so wrong. Don't judge. All right, so bingo. So we're gonna look at the AI overview, and then we're gonna actually go over to the Discover, right? So the Rhine House in California is a famous 17-room, goddamn, 17-room Victorian mansion built in 1884 on the historic Beringer vineyards in Napa Valley, right? Modeled after the Beringer family's home in Germany. So, okay, I didn't know that. Right? So I did read something earlier, but I didn't know that this was modeled after the family's home that's all the way in Germany. So if we can, I don't know if I can do that with Google Maps, but if we can, we're going to go check that out. And we're going to see, right? And also, we're going to be looking to see what area that this Mr. Frederick, right? Which area of this house does he inhabit or is haunted, right? So again, serving as Frederick Beringer's, there he is there, Frederick Beringer's residence, and now the centerpiece for tasting. Okay, so it is. So there we go. So no one necessarily lives there. It's a touring site, and it's also a place where you can go and do wine tasting. Remember, we saw the wine hall, the wine cellar, and everything that they had in there. So upon seeing that picture, I knew then, like, I mean, you could be rich enough, whatever the case is, to have your own fucking like wine cellar, right? But it just didn't give I live here, right? Maybe someone does live there. I still don't see how in the hell a house that beautiful you wouldn't live there though, right? So we're gonna look into that history in just a moment, right? So look, Frederick Beringer's residence, and now the centerpiece for tasting, known for its ornate stonework, stained glass, and rich wood interiors embodying the region's winemaking history in California Victorian era architecture. So here's what I want to say though, because I keep seeing this word wine and winemaking, right? So I'm guessing this family were winemakers, if that's the proper term for that, right? So it was built in 1844, right? I mean, not 1844, but 1884, right? All right. And it's got this Victorian design. I feel like we don't see enough of that, right? Maybe I'm sure there's some Victorian style houses in Houston we can go take a look at. Now again, this seems random, but I actually saw this on Instagram. This house on Instagram, whatever the case is, and I was so drawn to it, I decided I wanted to do some research on it. I had no idea that I was going to end up talking about it, right? That really wasn't in the plans, right? So look, check this out, because this is what gets me, right? We're going to talk about the interior for just a second. Where's the exterior? Okay, features stonework, turrets, and gables, right? So the interior includes red wood, oak and mahogany. I would bring up a photo, right? Because let's see if I can just bring up another photo of this. There's no way that I can. Well, technically there is another way, right? Let me just go here really quick. Give me 1 second, y'all. Fuck, there is not there. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second, because this is what I want to do, right? We're gonna exit full screen for just a second. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up another tab, a new window. We're gonna pair these really quick. Stay with me. And because while I'm going over the interior, I want y'all to be able to like look at the crib, right? And we'll just use, I guess we'll use photos, right? We'll just go with, where's that one photo? Where's this photo? We'll use that one, and we'll need to switch sides really quick. Okay. And y'all should be able to see it, right? Thank y'all for sticking with me, whoever's sticking in. Pause. All right, so check this out. So the year this was built, right? 1884. Now check this out. The interior includes redwood, oak, mahogany, and cherry paneling, unique stenciled walls, embossed wallpapers, and significant stained glass windows, which cost, okay, that's the cost, $6,000 of the total $28,000 build cost. I want to know how much it cost to build the house itself during that specific time. Right? Because I thought I saw something around 38,000, which still in 1884 sounds like no way, right? It had to cost more than that. But you got to remember the actual value of the dollar back then wasn't as inflated as it was today, right? So let's go to the Discovery Code. So they have, am I 21 years older? Yeah. Why does it really matter? So completed in 1884 by architect Albert. I'm not even going to butcher that. I'm going to leave that alone. Frederick Barringer's former residence is now the centerpiece of an expansive Barringer property. So they own some shit. You know, these some rich motherfuckers, right? Exhibiting the fine, detailed craftsmanship of the period, the Ryan House has beautiful exterior stonework, stained glass windows, and interior wood paneling. When building his 17-room mansion, Frederick wanted to mimic the Barringer family's impressive German home at Mainz on the Rhine, built at a cost of about $28,000. God damn! So to build this house in 1884, it cost him $28,000. That's a lot of time back. That's a lot of money back then. That's a lot of money today if you just. I mean, depending on your taste, right? Depending on what the fuck you could do with $28,000. To me, that's still a lot of money. But as you know, like I know, $28,000 is not enough money to build a house. Or is it? Depending on type of fucking house you building. But I don't think $28,000 is going to do it because we got to still talk about electrical. We got to talk about plumbing. We got to talk about what else goes on in the house. Oh, no, I'm good. Appreciate it. Tweezy just hopped in, so talking about
what's up? What's going on?
Let's see who all here though. Oh, I don't know who all in here right now. We got, I think Mark is still in here. Janae is in here. Who's all in the chat? I don't even know if Alexia made it. Who's all here?
So who was the owner of this house?
So the owner of this house is Frederick Barringer. Now check this shit out, nigga. In 1884, this is when he completed this house, and this is actually this is a house that he built that pretty much mimics a house that he built they have built in Germany, right? Okay. Nigga, to build this house in 1884, $28,000. Now why that's crazy? Because a house like this in today's time with the inflation and and the cost of living, hell nah, more than that. This house is well over probably well over $2 million. Well over $2 million. But the crazy part is, while we weren't even being thought of at that period of time, nigga was building a house for $28,000. Now $28,000 back then was a lot of money. So $28,000 back then.
In the 80s,
1800s.
So
no,
is there a picture around the time that
they originally built?
Yeah.
It might be something I think I seen something somewhere. Let's see if we can find it real quick. That's a good question. Since we're going over the history, if they got photos here, heritage, can we look at? Let's see if they got something here. Damn! Look at the overview of this shit. Look at this shit. God damn. So built around 1850s, the 1850s. This is it. I don't know when they took. I can't zoom in. I mean, I can do this, but I can't zoom in yet unless I actually find the photos of the gallery. Nah. The Hudson House. Okay, built around 1850. The 1850s. That's another house though. Look at this shit. This is the cellar. This has to be a cellar. for storing wine or whatever the case is. Okay, so Napa Valleys, Behringer were dug into the house. This is
that shit live.
That is live, but that shit also look like you can get stuck down there. The old winery. So what I'm not seeing is I'm looking for photos. So that's what I want to find. I want to find that though, but if we can't find it on the website, which is weird, it should be there. What we have to do is historical photos. Maybe there's a 1884. Let's see if we can find something. We're gonna have to hit Google Images. Bingo. Or somebody uploaded some shit 4 days ago. Whoever that is, appreciate that. Somebody uploaded a photo for 4 days ago. This is, I don't know. This don't give me 1884, but it very well could be something in early ass 1900s. This might be 1930s. Let's see. When was this? Come on, I know this got stamped. This got to be stamped. When did they take this photo? Normally they have like a little piece here, but this is definitely the house.
Is it the greenery that's giving you 1930? Or like,
well, just the overall coloring and stuff like that of the photo, just black and white, and then looking at the more modern and the later day photo, whatever the case is, it doesn't have all the shit we see it now though. Not all the extra greenery or whatever the case is. It looks like it's gone. This looks like a greenhouse right here. Or maybe this is the area where the case is where he studied, like a study room or some shit like that. I still see things like this today. In fact, the last time I seen something like this is actually when we going, we're getting close to Chimney Rock. When we going up the street to like Hillcroft and shit. Somebody actually got a piece like this off the side of their house. No one's saying when they took this photo, which is weird. That's important to... I mean, maybe 1877. Well, it did tell us back then when it was actually they had actually finished building it. Let's go here. Let's see what we can find here. Oh no, you good? Go ahead. Where are the photos though? That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. So haunted versus inhabited. We're going to hold this photo for just 1 second. We're going to go over here to Google. And we're going to look at the word. Let's check out the word haunted. Or we can do haunted versus inhabited, right? But I don't like doing that. Because what I want to do is, first, I want to look at the words one by one, right? So haunted means, and it's often associated with ghosts, right? So frequented by a ghost. And what does the word frequented means? It means visited often or habitually. So there's that word again. Inhabit, right? That means inhabited, or what the case is, visiting, right? In-house, right? And then let's look at the word inhabited, right? Bingo. Of a person, animal, or group live in or occupy. So inhabited means to occupy. So understand this. When someone says a house is haunted, try not to think of it as, maybe a place that's occupied by something that is out to get you. Because often when we think of hauntings, we think of what? We think of ghosts, causing mischief or knocking things over or bothering people or dragging them out of bed. Because what has taught us that? Hollywood has taught us that. Movies has taught us that. Documentaries have taught us that haunted means scary. Haunted means eerie. Haunted means, or haunting means out to get me, right? So now we'll actually compare the words, right? Whoops, my bad. So inhabited means a place is occupied by living people or creatures, while haunted means it is frequented or possessed by ghosts or spirits, often involving unsettling paranormal activities or supernatural activities or spiritual activities, though it can also mean being preoccupied by an idea or memory. So essentially, inhabited, alive, occupied, and haunted, spiritually, ghostly, presence, though a place can technically be both. That's what I was going to get at, because it's still inhabited. If inhabited means occupied, it doesn't matter whether the shit is alive or not, it still occupies a place, right? So as it says here, a ghostly presence. It's just when people associate occupied, a house being occupied or a place being occupied with a ghost or whatever the case is, they don't call it inhabited. They say it's haunted, right? But you got to kind of get over this word, whatever the case is, because essentially it doesn't mean, it truly does, to me, it doesn't mean anything different than inhabited. This shit right here gives superstition. Superstition, it gives, to me, it's a misnomer. It's a misnomer, I mean. So it doesn't necessarily mean what you think it is. It's based on superstition and programming based on some shit we watched, right? So it doesn't automatically mean when someone says, okay, there's a spirit in my home that is quote unquote bad, evil, or some demon or some shit out to get you. The moment you get an understanding of these words or what the case is and you really look into things, it's never as creepy as they make it look. They do that shit to entertain and to spook you, to scare you, or whatever the case is. Again, I bought this shit today. It's the nastiest shit I ever had. Don't quote me. Alright, so inhabited. Definitions: and having inhabitants, lived in or occupied by people, animals, or living beings. Alright, so key ideas: presence of living occupants. Haunted. Definition: frequented or inhabited by ghost spirits or other supernatural beings. Also means preoccupied by a persistent thought, memory, or emotion, right? Okay. So there's that. So key differences, we're going to look at that and we're going to be done with this. Inhabited is about physical living occupancy, but not necessarily. It could still mean the same shit as haunted. Haunted is about spiritual or psychological intrusion, making it distinct from normal habitation. A house can be inhabited by people, but also considered haunted by spirits. Bingo! Point I was trying to make. I told you it means the same shit. So again, a house can be inhabited by people, but also considered haunted by spirits. Which means what? If it's haunted by spirits, what the case is, it's inhabited by spirits. Which means they occupy the same goddamn space. Point made, right? And so let's talk more about Frederick, right? So this is the end part. This is the part we went over inhabited, we went over haunted, right? And now we're gonna get to Frederick, right? Because apparently, as we read a little bit about the history of, the original builder of this home, Frederick, right? We're gonna talk about this place, this home, the Ryan home, whatever the case is, or the Arbinger home. The Behringer home is supposed to be occupied, right? It's supposed to be haunted by Mr. Frederick Behringer. So what we're going to do now is there's a particular part of the house where we understand now, people who come for wine tasting and to tour, they say when they visit this part of the house, whatever the case is, that they feel a presence or they experience some type of phenomena. They have some type of, otherworldly experience, right? They sense some things, right? So we're going to find out which area has the most activity. And then that will conclude today's discussion, although we still haven't did what I thought we were going to do. We were supposed to just go visit downtown Houston. We'll still do a little bit of that. And if y'all want to stick around, but honestly, we only have about 10 more minutes. Again, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in or whatever the case is. That's dope. I probably should end it here before it drops to 2. If you're here at this moment, don't leave. It's very critical. It's very critical, although we really just about hit the marker. But we're about roughly 11 minutes away from being done with this stream. And y'all have been such a fucking huge help. I really thank y'all for tuning in. So let's find out which part of this house. Let's find out which part of this house that Frederick is supposed to inhabit. Where in this house is most of the activity happening, right? Let's take a look at that. So we'll go here, right? All right, so haunted, right? We'll use the word haunted by Frederick, right? And I hope I spelled his name right. Okay, so bingo, here it is, right? So it says yes. The Ryan House at Behringer Vineyard in Napa Valley, California, is famously rumored to be haunted or inhabited, right? Inhabited by its owner, its original owner, Frederick Behringer, with reports of ghostly apparitions, right? Ghostly apparitions means ghostly sightings, right? Or ghostly figures, disembodied footsteps and objects moving in his former bedroom, leading employees to keep a ghost book to log paranormal activity. So I didn't know that. So that's something I just learned. I didn't know that they actually kept a book, whatever the case is, where they recorded the activity, right? This supernatural, this paranormal activity, right? So this is what I want to talk about without getting too much into it. This is not to spook anybody or whatever the case is. I'm not going to tell you really to get over it, but honestly, none of this so-called, this phenomenon, whatever the case is not as spooky as anything that you saw in the fucking movies. It is not necessarily like that. However, if you're programmed to think things like this, or spooky, disturbing, terrifying, horrifying, whatever you want to say, right? Then that's due to the programming, whatever the case is, right? Because movies do that. They train you or they program you to think, and then therefore, you react based on some shit you really never experienced, right? So, boom. So, it says, with reports of ghostly apparitions, disembodied footsteps, and objects moving in his former bedroom, leading employees to keep a ghost book to log or to document paranormal activity. So that's not stopping the fucking employees from working there. I'm not sure how much they make, whatever the case is, but you would think, and these can't be niggas. It can't be no niggas working there, because niggas would have been out of there. The moment a nigga sit something down and then they look over here and they look back and that shit didn't move, the nigga didn't move up out of there. We're going to go move to another job. We're going to go find something else. I mean, that's just how black people think. They don't fuck around. We don't sit around and wait, figure things out. No, we're not trying to let some shit transpire. We getting the fuck out of there. We seen enough. It was nice. We out of here. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't play games like that, right? I don't understand why they haven't censored or maybe, created a movie around this. Because based on my research, what the case is, it isn't the phenomena. What the case is, it doesn't draw people in enough to say, damn, this is what happened to this man. I'm thinking the nigga probably died of old age, and knowing what I know, if you do have strong attachments to certain places, things, and people, then you will, in fact, whenever you pass on whatever the case is, become attached to them. You'll be drawn to them, whatever the case is. Therefore, there will always be activity centered around that person, that place, or that specific thing, right? But anyways, let's look into okay, so he was the original owner, we know that. So let's look into what areas, right? All right, so it says key details of the haunting, the ghost, right? I don't like to use the word ghost. We don't have to use this. We're going to say the spirit of Frederick Behringer, one of the winery's founders. So it's more than one. It's said to linger in the Victorian mansion he built for his family in 1884, right? So which area, right? Which area is really having the activity? We know the former bedroom. His former bedroom had activity, correct? Visitors and staff have seen his figure in the upstairs halls, heard footsteps. This might be a little spooky for some of you niggas, So I can feel y'all through the screen right now. Niggas like, I don't want to listen to this shit. You'll be alright. Visitors and staff have seen his figure. Just watch some cartoons and some shit, you know what I'm saying? Turn on some gospel or something. You know how y'all niggas do it. Visitors and staff have seen his figure in the upstairs halls, heard footsteps, and experienced items flying off the shelves and disappearing from his old bedroom. Now let me explain that. Let me explain why, in fact, you would even experience some shit like that when you go into one of their houses. Let me be very clear about something. And I don't even want to go all the way into the occult science of what I really know about people whenever they pass on, especially specific people, white people. About this astral plane and its subdivisions or levels, right? Which it has 7. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to go all the way to the science. But let me tell you something. Now, if him throwing these books off the shelves, whatever the case is to run you off. It is definitely meant to scare you off, whatever the case is. He doesn't want you there. Understand this. You got to understand when you go watch the movie Poltergeist. Go back and watch the movie Beetlejuice. Remember Beetlejuice, whatever the case is. There was a couple, whatever the case is, who on their way back from somewhere or on their way to somewhere, they ended up dying in that car crash, right? And then they wound up back in the house. And then when the new family moves in, and whatever the case is, they start doing things, whatever the case is, to, you know, to kind of just spook the family, you know, and kind of just, you know, they're basically trying to force them out, right? This is what you call paranormal activity. When you experience things like objects moving mysteriously, right? And things flying off the shelves, that is what you would call paranormal activity. What does the word paranormal mean? The word paranormal means beyond normal. It means supernatural, right? Spirit activity, right? So him knocking books off the shelf, whatever the case is, you don't become afraid of this. You tell them, get the fuck out. This is no longer your house, right? What's going on is he is doing these type of things to ward you off. So this is funny to me because at this point, knowing what I know, whatever the case is, I'm past the whole spook thing and I got to pay attention to the time. I got about 4 minutes left. Again, thank y'all for sticking around. This is so important. I hope y'all found this entertaining. I'm only gonna lock it in for an hour though, even though I want to go and we were supposed to go visit. We were supposed to go tune into some other things, but anyways. So visitors and staff have seen his figure in the upstairs halls because again, that's an apparition. Don't be spooked. Don't be spooked. It takes time. I mean, I've had years. I've researched this type of shit for years. I'm beyond that at this point though. It doesn't mean like I don't watch movies and I still can't get scared. That's the whole point. That's the whole part of the entertainment. That's to get that thrill, right? But visitors and staff have seen his figures in the upstairs halls, which is just the apparition, heard footsteps, and experienced items flying off shelves or disappearing from his old bedroom. Because he can move things around, right? Now, employee logs so frequent are the occurrences that Behringer staff maintain a logbook to document the ghostly happenings at the historic Ryan House. Then you gotta ask yourself, if it is so spooky, and I'm not saying on their first experience with any of this, if you just started working there, that it wouldn't freak you out a little bit. But these motherfuckers are still here. It's a tour site. You can go there for wine tasting. It can't be all that bad, right? It can't be all that fucking spooky. So it says why it's haunted, and this is where we're gonna get ready to close, right? So it says Frederick lived in and deeply loved the Ryan House. What did I tell you? When you are attached to certain things because you love them so much, you become obsessed with them, and his spirit is believed to remain attached. There's the fucking word. Attached to the property, occasionally making his presence known. They can make their presence known. You gotta understand that. People think the word spirit means demon. No, nigga. You're gonna die someday, but you're not really dead. The word dead is a misnomer. You're actually more alive. As you can see here, he's still a fucking alive. He just don't have a physical body. And he can still make some shit move, if you get what I'm saying, right? It says, his spirit is believed to remain attached to the property, occasionally making his presence known. They can do that. They can muster up enough energy to make certain shit move. He has not left his home because, for one, he loved it. Look at the fucking house. My bad. Oh, we don't need to download it. Let's just go back to images. Let's take a look at the home again. Now, these are from... Oh, wow. Now, this is... I didn't know about this. So this is okay. So this is from a ghost website. Is this a painting? Who the fuck? Why would you upload such a small photo? See, that's why I don't like going to Google Photos, right? But obviously, there's a few photos here that looks. I ain't gonna lie. Like if I could blow this up, if I could blow this photo up, I would, right? But honestly, here's what I'm saying: though, how you build something like this, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into this. Whatever the case is, how in the hell would you not like or love this home? So much that even when you die physically, they can remove your physical body, but it's like, nigga, you ain't gonna remove my spirit. Now, what's surprising to me is that you can be gone or dead for so long that you don't even well you can be dead for so many years and not even understand that you're dead though. So what surprised me is that after all these decades, this a century has went by, right? No one has decided to come in the house and help him make the transition because he hasn't made the transition. He hasn't. When you make the transition, whatever the case is, you go beyond this parallel dimension, or you go beyond certain levels of the astral plane to where you're no longer on the what you would call like the mirror universe of Earth, if that makes any sense. But we locked in, whatever the case is. Oh, I got two more viewers. If you just tuned in at this period of time, I was explaining, the history of this beautiful Ryan house that was owned by Frederick Behringer. It is now a tour site. You can also go there in California to actually tour it and see some things. We were going over the history. We were talking about a bit of Frederick and the haunting and things like that. But this is where I decided I want to end the stream. I was only supposed to do this for an hour. I hate to cut it so short. I do like the fact that people just tuned in, but this is why I need to end it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm not gonna extend it any longer than this because that hurts if the fucking views drop. We will pick this back up. If you do like this, if you do like the discussion, if you enjoyed it, whatever the case is, get in the comment section. Let me know. I'll give y'all 30 seconds to do that. Just let me know. Or if you like this type of stream, whatever the case is, because there was so much more we could have actually went into. But let me know. Let me know if this is something you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section. Come on, you got like 30 seconds. No one said anything. Well, that concludes today's discussion. Other than that, I'm out. I'll see y'all tomorrow.